Hey guys, it's Anthony with the Rad Company, and if you're watching this video, you're probably wondering, GTECHNIQ versus Inspiration. Which should you go with and why? So we're answering that question and more in today's FAQ video. All right, so you've decided to ceramic coat your vehicle and or a customer's vehicle, and you're trying to choose which coating you should go with, and you've narrowed it down to GTECHNIQ CSL and P&S Inspiration, and you're kind of at a standstill because you don't know which route to go. So we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of each of these coatings and seeing which is right for you and your application. So starting with GTECHNIQ CSL, it is a very widely known ceramic coating and it's extremely easy to use. The price is right and it looks pretty damn good, right? So what are some of the other strengths? Well, again, it's easy to use. It's a very easy to use coating. Basically, apply it onto a panel, wipe it off, literally call it a day. With that said, GTECHNIQ CSL is something that does last a long time, but it's something that also needs to be pretty well maintained in terms of your washing regimen. We find that while yes, this coating is pretty dang hard, it can still swirl and still mar with time if you use improper wash techniques or you're not using the right type of media to wipe your car down. So this is something you kind of got to look out for. While yes, the coating will still be on there, you could still potentially get swirling within that coating, which goes to show that CSL, while yes, it is durable and very chemical resistant, it is not completely scratch proof. It is scratch resistant, meaning that any type of marring or scratching that may happen on a very top surface level may be in fact in the coating and not actually in the clear coat, which is a good thing. Another pro of this product is that it does last extremely long time. Typically this product is rated for about 3+ years, and when you top it with EXO, you can get up to 5 years, if not more, with that product under good maintenance while using C2V3 as a consistent topper throughout the lifespan of that coating. So yes, it does last a long time. The other thing that I like is at the price point. It is a very affordable coating, I guess I should say. Now the other cool thing is that CSL comes in a couple different sizes, so you can kind of choose how much product you actually need for a job. So typically the smaller bottle is going to be good for a 1 vehicle application, whereas the larger size can get up to 2 vehicles or a very large single vehicle. So that's what's kind of cool about it. But other than that though, I would say that pros are that it's easy to use, pros are that it lasts a long time, the price point is right, and then the con would be that it is still susceptible to some type of marring. If you're improperly washing the car, you're dry wiping or things like that, it can still kind of swirl. And so that is the one downside, but I mean, that's just maintenance, guys. That's things that you should probably already know. So anyways, moving on to P&S Inspiration. You've heard of it, you've never used it, you want to know more about it, but you're afraid to pull the trigger because you just don't really know how to go about it. So I have had both of these coatings on my vehicles. I've had P&S Inspiration and I've also had GTECHNIQ CSL. I like both of them. I like P&S Inspiration for different reasons than CSL, and that is because Inspiration is freakishly tough. It is extremely strong, and it is an extremely hard coating, and I cannot emphasize that enough. So a lot of the pros about this product. Lengthwise, longevity, you're getting just as much time out of this product as you would CSL. So you're typically getting about 3 years worth of lifespan out of Inspiration if you continue to maintain it and coat it and top it with something like Bead Maker, right? So you're getting that longevity out of it. They're pretty much neck and neck there in terms of how long it's gonna last. Now, as far as the application process, it is a little tougher than CSL. And by a little tougher, I would say that this could be a beginner to intermediate level coating. This would be an intermediate to pro level coating in terms of the application. Basically, CSL, you do have some working time. Inspiration, you don't really have a lot of working time. So typically you don't want to tackle too much. So I tell people you typically want to work in a 2x2 square area or 1x1 square area, something that's very manageable, and then work your way inward. So when you apply the coating, you want to be wiping inward rather than outward, because when you wipe outward, you are actually spreading the coating into adjacent areas that you may not want the coating on at that point in time. So try to isolate your application area. You could get it to where it starts becoming tacky and sticky, and if that starts to happen, we find that working with a damp applicator works best. So you can take this applicator here, dampen it up with some water, then apply the coating to it, spread it in, and then actually remove excess product with a damp microfiber microfiber towel and then come back through and level it again with a dry towel, and we find that makes it much, much easier. However, if you're just going purely into this thinking that it's another coating, you're wrong, because again, you don't have the working time. It does become tacky. It does become very rock hard, very, very fast. So you have to work quick. So what about scratch resistance and chemical resistance? I would say in terms of chemical resistance, it's right on par with CSL. It's gonna have that same level of effect that you would expect out of a ceramic coating, resisting any type of gasoline or resisting bird droppings, bug guts, things like that from really etching and causing a lot of harm. But again, it's still not bulletproof. But in terms of scratch resistance, I would say that this coating is harder than CSL. From what I've had on my car over the last couple years and what I've put that car through, when I finally kind of took a light to it and when I went to go polish off what was left of this coating, I was amazed to find that there was little to no swirling or marring or anything in that paint. And it didn't make sense to me because I had used a lot of improper wiping techniques, testing out products, testing out towels, all sorts of different things, and there wasn't a scratch on it, there wasn't a mar on it, and that was pretty incredible. And so I would say that in terms of toughness, Inspiration is extremely tough. Now, one question that I'll kind of cover for both products is, can you layer these products? And the answer is yes. So with CSL, it is recommended to layer it with GTECHNIQ EXO. It is a good topper that can go on top of CSL, and you can apply 2 coats of EXO if you would like. I've heard of instances where people have applied 2 coats of CSL and then EXO. You can kind of test that out for yourself and see how see how it goes. But from talking with GTECHNIQ, they say 1 layer of CSL and 2 layers of EXO is good enough. Now, as far as for Inspiration, you can do 2 coats of this product. I would recommend letting that first coat cure for at least several hours before coming back through and applying your second coat. Some people can get away with waiting an hour. I personally like to wait a couple hours. That's just me though. And so wait a couple hours, come back through with your second coat. And at that point, this 3-year coating could be a 5-year coating. Really, I mean, I don't think it's been out long enough to do that type of long-term testing out in these type of environments. But trust me when I say that this stuff is so rock hard, this stuff is so good that it is worth the application process, and it might be worth doing it a second time just so you have that extra layer of protection. So that's pretty much it. Those are the main differences. So basically, I tell people you're a beginner, you want something that's easy to apply but still lasts long, that still looks good, go with CSL. If you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit more difficult to apply, last just as long, but be a little bit stronger, maybe a little bit harder, then I would go with P&S Inspiration. They're both fantastic products. I don't think you can go wrong either way. And in terms of overall looks, they both look incredible. I would call CSL a very vibrant look. I would say that it's extremely glossy. It looks very, very good, very kind of candy shell-like, whereas Inspiration, for some reason, it seems to kind of warm up everything that you apply it onto, very similar to Bead Maker. So if you know how your car looks with Bead Maker on it, think about that amplified in terms of gloss and kind of the vibrancy of that color with Inspiration. And when you have Inspiration, then top it with Bead Maker, then you've scored the real deal. So anyways, hopefully that question has been answered. Hopefully that helps you guys determine which coating to go with. If you guys have any other questions, make sure to leave them down below and give us a like if you found this video helpful. As always, stay tuned for more videos right here at the Rad Company FAQ channel.